Hey everyone, hope your day is going well. We are back with another reaction. We're going to find out some things of the 1980s that are not socially acceptable today. I think this is mostly in the US. Maybe in Belgium it's still socially acceptable. Let's find out. Maybe I can give you some insights on that. All right, let's jump in, man.
40 years ago, things were very different. MTV was just catching on and Atari was still very popular.
Oh,
We didn't have all the
Atari.
constant news in our face, but our
Oof.
social media was hanging out with friends and family.
When is that going to be not socially acceptable anymore? All that news, man. Oh, jeez. I'm sick of it.
Some of the things we used to do would probably get you arrested now.
Classic movies, man.
Safety
Oh.
standards in cars were pretty well absent. The regulations were more like mild suggestions rather than rules or laws. Nobody
Right.
wore seatbelts, and many people just wondered why they were even there.
Yeah.
As a kid, you could
What's
sit
a
in the middle
seatbelt?
of the bench seat up front and control the radio. If you wanted to see over the tall dash, then you could just simply stand up. Heck, Dad may have even placed you in his lap so you could help him steer the car. It was also common
Let's
to
go,
see
Sonny
kids
Jim.
just packed in the back of a station wagon or maybe in the bed of a pickup truck. Car seats were available for purchase, but rarely would you ever see one in a car.
Okay, the car seat lobby made it so. That's the car seat lobby, man. They didn't sell very well, so they said, how do we, we gotta, give some money to the lawmakers here, so car seats become, you know, uh, obliged. Is that how you say it in English? I swear, seat belts came in later in Belgium. I mean, the law for seat belt. Um, Now I don't know my own Dutch word for it anymore. Sometimes I speak so much English because of these channels, and I forget my own language. All right, let's see. In Belgium, when was it? The law. 1992. 1992. When was this in America? Mandatory, right? That's the word. Mandatory. 1984? Okay. Hey, we got you beat on that. We had like 10 years almost extra.
If your car was packed with kids, then it was
Yeah.
usually easier just to leave them in the car and then go into the grocery store and shop. Most people just left the
No,
windows
no,
rolled
no,
down
no,
and the
no.
kids would be just fine. Kids were
I don't know
very
about that
active, and
one.
it wasn't uncommon just to tell your parents you were going outside to play, and then
Oh,
you would
yeah.
disappear for most of the day, if not all of it.
Yep.
It was always easy to tell where all the neighborhood kids were just by glancing at someone's yard and seeing the collection of bicycles. If that wasn't seen, then most of the kids would knock on their friend's door to see if they were home and if they wanted to come out and play.
Yep.
If you went around riding bikes, then you certainly didn't wear a helmet. Most people
Helmet?
couldn't even see these in stores to buy, and if you could, they wouldn't have even wanted them. Same thing with elbow pads and knee pads. Most kids just
Oh, no, you can't be riding around on your bike with all that, man. You know how kids are. You can't be doing that. But nowadays, with those electrical bikes, people, those are a menace. Those are so dangerous. People are zooming past. You can't even hear them. Sheesh. Yo, they're crazy. Those electrical bikes, man.
Most kids just thought it was cool to show off your latest injury or skinned knee. If you happen to be
Yeah.
too far from home too late, then no problem. Find one of the
E.T., classic.
payphones that were all over the place, and if you didn't have
Payphones.
change, then that wasn't a problem either. Your parents knew when they got the collect call.
You have a collect call from.
I'm at the community center.
Do you accept charges?
Your mom and dad
I never accept any charges, but I don't think we have this in Belgium. We do have payphones, or had payphones. We don't have them anymore, of course, but collect calls. I don't think that existed. At least I didn't know about it.
would just come and pick you up and load up the bikes if you had them. Otherwise, your parents just expected you to be home by the time the street lights came on.
Yeah, same here.
Smoking was still very big, and parents smoked in the home and in the car with kids still in it. Secondhand smoke was just something that everyone had to live with, and most people weren't worried about exposing it to kids. It wasn't uncommon to see people just smoking away in restaurants, and most of them probably didn't even have smoking sections. Things were so different back then that there were
You got the
cigarette
smoked
machines in
steak,
front of
man.
some stores and restaurants. No ID check or anything, just insert the quarters and pull the knob. It
Yeah.
was also a time when kids would run to the convenience store and pick up some essentials. Sometimes those essentials were cigarettes, and all we needed was a note from mom or dad and a blank check.
That's exactly what my friend said. We had to go get the cigarettes for the mother or the father, right? Without filters, the ones without the filters. Ooh. But yeah, you can easily sneak a pack in for yourself, right? Hey, let's go. But then the parents would go to the store. Hey, why are you started smoking this brand now? I don't. Okay, we got caught. Yep, let's run, run.
Dad and a blank check. Considering how most people were about smoking, it's not surprising that alcohol would be much different. Alcohol wasn't something that kids enjoyed, but I'm sure many tasted it just
I
to see
enjoyed
what
it.
it was like when parents offered it.
Until I didn't.
Being a latchkey kid was perfectly fine. Parents were busy working and doing other things, so it was quite common to see kids at home by themselves or watching younger siblings until they got home. Parents just thought if kids were old enough to dial the important numbers or 911, they were responsible enough to be at home alone.
Different times,
Physical
man.
punishment was also something that was viewed very differently. Paddling or swats from parents, family,
Ouch.
or teachers was considered completely
Oh, look at this guy.
reasonable.
Yeah, he's standing proud with the pad there. He said, hey, I might sneak this one home for the missus.
If the kids misbehaved or were disrespectful. Punishment was usually swift and painful.
Hey, that's Rob
Peanut
Lowe. Oh.
allergies certainly were around back then, but kids still brought peanut butter sandwiches and peanut products to school. Peanut and other allergy bans weren't a thing. EpiPens didn't hit the market until 1987, so if you had an allergy, you just had to hope you didn't die.
Ooh, yo, no, that's not.
If you were a teenager in the
Cross my fingers.
1980s, then you didn't have Instagram or Snapchat. Your social media was hanging out at the mall with your friends. You could do a little shopping, eating, and a whole lot of hanging out. Parents would allow their kids to roam the mall by themselves for hours. Kids may still go to the mall today, but not quite as much. If they hang out there all day now, they might accuse you of loitering.
Yeah, we didn't even have malls over here. We still really don't. It never took off here. It's just not. This country's not big enough to hold them. There's probably a mall bigger in America than Belgium.
Chickenpox parties were something that many people had long before there was a vaccine.
Oh, really?
Most people felt it was best just to get chickenpox out of the way so you wouldn't have to worry about it later.
Yeah. Well,
If one kid's
my daughter just had it, last year when she was 8, and it was not pretty. Oh man, that was so my heart. Oh man, my heart was so broken when I had to see her and she was in pain. And yeah, it might be better to get it when you're much younger than 8, because it wasn't good. You still have scarring, man. It's no. Yeah, chickenpox parties. I had no idea those existed. Yeah. Oh man, that was heartbreaking.
started showing signs, then it was time to gather every other kid who hadn't gotten it for a
They
good
have
old-fashioned
chickenpox party posters.
The PG-13 rating didn't exist until July 1st, 1984, and prior to that, they got away with a
Goonies,
lot
bro.
more. People realized that there was a huge gap between PG and R. If you take a look back at the movie Airplane, which was PG, you'll understand how wide this gap was. The movie
Leslie
was filled with a
Nielsen,
lot of
R.I.P..
adult humor in it, and it even showed some nudity. On August 10th, 1984, the action film Red Dawn starring Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen became the first ever PG-13 movie to be released in
Was
theaters.
that the first one? Really? Oh, I didn't know
Over
that.
the last 40 years, there have been
you got the
many
Breakfast
changes,
Club.
not just in technology, but in regulations on what we can and cannot do. Most of the younger generations do not realize how many changes have taken place during the 80s and have continued to do so. I hope you enjoyed this little walk down memory lane. Thank
Hey,
you so
come
much
on, the
for
perfect
watching.
movie. Back to the Future.
Why don't you
Crash
come up here,
Dummies, huh?
Pumpkin?
What are you doing, Larry?
Well, Vince, I've asked my
No.
pumpkin to sit on my lap to prove a point.
And what is that, your Larryness?
Even if we fasten our safety belts, even if you hold on tight, even if you were watching the road, in a crash, your pumpkin will be nothing but a squash.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Use child safety seats.
We love that little pumpkin to pieces.
Okay, Joey, it's a wrap.
Hi, I'm Joey Lawrence if you need a break. After I'm done here, I get a ride home. But the thing is, I will only get into a car with someone who wears their seatbelt. You see, kids like me
Wow.
usually do what the driver does. If they don't buckle, we don't buckle. Sounds pretty dumb, huh? But it happens, just like accidents. Give a kid a break. Buckle up. Your life.
Wow. So these are all the kind of sensibilization like campaigns, commercials from. All right. I don't think they really do that in Belgium. Maybe nowadays they do. You know, we don't really. You only find out when there's a new law when you get your first fine, right? Okay, now I know. Thank you. All right, you got some more money now in the for the mayor's ball.
And theirs is in your hands.
Light it up. How cool. Right in the face.
When you walk in a room, nobody can stand the fumes. Ooh, dragon lady.
Hey, this is a banger.
Tell me, baby, why you smoke that trash?
Why, girl?
Everybody's saying you ain't got no class.
Can't you see what you are? You're a drag, yes you are.
Dragon lady,
A message for you and me from the American Cancer Society.
don't be a dragon lady.
Don't be a dragon lady. You know, when you walk into the room with all of those fumes, that's the stuff I love to discover, you know, because, you know, when I was a kid in Belgium, I always watched American films and shows and stuff. That's the thing you get. But what you don't get is like these things that would only show in America, like these commercials or all these things that you don't know about. That's the stuff that I like to learn about, these things that we wouldn't normally know about, you know, daily lives in other countries and other cultures. These little things, that's fun to me. And the differences between, you know, what we have, you know, there's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences too. And yeah, man, this was it was cool to see. And times have changed, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, and things come back around. And you know, the seatbelt thing, I think it was kind of a good decision. The no smoking in restaurants. You know, if I want smoked ribs, you know, we just order them. Yeah, so those might be better, right? I don't know. So, you know, your clothes are all, you go to a bar or whatever, your clothes were all stinky. You gotta, oh, man, you know, no. That's better. That was a good one. All right. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any recommendations for me to check out, please let me know. Hope to see you in another video. Goodbye.